Welcome, everyone. It's our show time, and we are super happy that you joining us today for our great topic, which is taken from real life, which is overcoming resistance to self promotion as a coach. And to make sure that we can cover this topic in 100% potential, I'm super happy to welcome our guest speaker today, who is Susan. Susan is a CF Master Certified Coach and founder, president of The Academies, neuroscience coaching. And in her 25 years of leadership and coaching education, has supported thousands of coaches across 6 continents to earn their ICF credentials and grow the momentum of neuro-informed coaches who are changing minds for good. Susan's passion combined coaching, neuroscience, and psychodynamic approaches to change. She holds an executive master's in change degree from INSEAD, France, and bachelor's degree of music therapy degree. With small town farm girl roots to global leader for change, Susan brings compassion, curiosity, and collaboration to shaping the future of coaching. Susan, welcome on board.
Ihor, thank you so much. And I'm just grateful that our team found you and connected us together because you have such an important piece of the puzzle for coaches to be able to thrive in their space these days. So if you don't mind, I would love to add just a little bit of a story to that introduction, and thank you for that. And the introduction that I would like to personalize around this is that the topic about putting yourself out there as a coach and having some resistance to that is one that's very real for me and near and dear to my heart. And it's interesting that you mentioned in the bio the small town farm girl roots. And I think that had some major sort of drama in my mind about being able to put myself out there as a coach, because I think I adopted a little bit of an imposter syndrome from those small town roots. And so like I didn't come from a major metropolitan area. In my career, I didn't work for a major multinational. I didn't live or work abroad. I didn't speak 2 or 3 languages like you do. I didn't have a finance or an econ background. So I was really focused on I don't have enough. I'm not enough. And yet here I find myself today in such a position that I'm humbled and honored by, to have global influence in this beautiful profession of coaching. So I asked myself, how did I get here? How did this happen when I'm just this quote small town farm girl? And I think that really relates to our topic today, because the thing I think that got me here is that I continually did the things that scared me. Continually, the things that scared me. And this is not a message about go out there and feel the fear and do it anyway. I want to go much deeper than that in our conversation later. But I do believe that the things that scare us grow us. And the
Right.
things, yeah, and the things that grow us profoundly or significantly often require some sort of integration, um, collective diversity, integration of the parts of ourselves that we either don't see, don't like, don't accept, don't value. We've overlooked them, diminished them, just sort of downright resisted or rejected them. And so here's one quick sample of my career trajectory where I totally rejected pieces of me that taught me this lesson. So this was in probably my 30s. I had a very successful solopreneur business doing resume writing. I was very involved with an organization called Career Masters Institute. Some of our colleagues on the call will know it today as Career Thought Leaders. Back then I was a board member, was loving working with the founder, Wendy Inlow. She just had a brilliant brain for futuristic ideas and had formed this amazing careers association. She was ready to go off and do something new. And she came to me and said, Susan, would you like to purchase Career Masters Institute and run this careers professional organization? And my first response to her was like, not in a million years. No,
Right.
thank you. Right? Because I'm this introverted, successful solopreneur. I was having my own little thing going and I liked it. And I knew that if I said yes to that opportunity, I would have to up my game with sales, with marketing, with systems, with operations, with team building, and
Yes.
all of the things that I'm like, "Ew, I don't want to do that." And I remember sitting at my dining room table with my dear, dear friend, crying, saying, I don't want to do this, but I know I have to. Just had that knowing of I have to do
Mhm.
this because it wasn't just something of like, oh, I'm going to go learn how to skydive. This was something that I was passionate about. I was passionate about coaching and careers. I was passionate about leadership. I was passionate about change. So on, my door is knocking this opportunity. Long story short, I did it. It was painful. There were some moments where I think, what did I get myself into with building all these systems and the teamwork that I had to learn how to team? And that was the most pivotal change in my career of my entire trajectory, that I
Oh,
would
wow.
not be sitting here today if I had not done that. That scared me, that I didn't want to do, but I knew I needed to do.
This is an amazing headliner for our conversation today, and thank you so much for sharing. And yeah, I'm super excited to kick this off. And by the way, I guess you didn't know that we have two farm people here on the call. Bec- yes,
All the greenery back there, things are growing. But
yeah,
okay, tell me.
I was born and raised in a small little village back in Ukraine. And yeah, I did all the tiny and big steps uh, to be able to have such amazing guests as we're having today. Of your persona. So yeah, just a small little background. My name's Yer Bauman. I'm founder and CEO at Workee. And with Workee, what we do uh, coach automation platform where we're putting together all little pieces that successful coaches need to run their practice effectively. Starting from your personal website, video calls, booking system, your payments and client management, where every step of your journey is supported with AI. So this is what our platform does, and this is why I'm super happy to host and to be partnered with such amazing people as you are. So thank you for this. And yeah, and last but not least, yeah, why I started this journey, because you shared like your journey.
Yeah.
And our story is very interesting because in my own family, we went through transition from employed to self-employed. And when during COVID, my mom, she got laid off. She was working as a therapist in one small practice. And the usually always they were not able to operate. So she decided to start her online health coaching business. And since she was having customers from different parts of Ukraine, so and she started working online with Skype, and she started asking me questions: how to manage bookings, how to manage website, how to get paid. Oh, how can I follow up with my customers? And we realized then that back then there was no such simple system that can just does the job and that's it. So that's why I decided to hop in this big train and build Workee. So yeah, well, like one of the main things that I always proud of is how many stories Workee combines. Because all the people who started their business, they are like not that regular people. Those are people of challenges. Those are people of opportunities, and those, first of all, are people who are able to put themselves out there without knowing what to expect, but their curiosity and their like this willingness to do something big uh, gave them power to overcome this challenge.
Mm.
And this lines with our topic amazingly. So yeah, that's why just before we kick off, just summary that with Workee, we partnered with academies to make this mission possible for people to run their businesses, to share their stories, and to overcome challenges, to make sure that at least their back office is covered by the right software. So that's our mission with Workee and the academies. Cool. I believe this is great timing to start kicking off our conversation today. Susan, we ask you to join today to talk about how coaches can feel confident to put themselves out there. And so
Mhm,
I'd like you to share anything specific from your background about this topic.
mhm. So at the academies, we have a number of coaches that are coming through. Some of them are working internally in organizations, and others are starting their own practice or have their own practice and adding coaching to it. And they're often asking questions about, like, how do I build my business? And so that is the reason that we've partnered with Workee. And the resources are there. The back office is there. The online presence piece is there through Workee. I want to today to talk a little bit about individually what's happening within each one of you, just like what was happening within me of saying, not in a million years. What's happening in you that is causing some level of resistance about putting yourself out there? And I wonder if people could add into the chat, what is a big hesitation that you have about putting yourself out there as a coach? And if you can help me keep an eye on that, Ihor.
Hmm.
Um,
Sure.
and and I'm just going to start. I think that answer is going to be very different for everyone. There may be some common themes, but I will share that for me, I talked earlier in my introduction about it's this integration. We have to learn how to integrate pieces of us so that we can grow. And we're asking our clients to do that very thing when we're coaching them. We're expecting them to stretch and to grow and to look at new pieces, look at new perspectives. So for me personally, one of the things that I struggled with was I didn't want to take people's money. I didn't want to cause them harm, to mess up their budgets, and oh, they're going to have to spend money on me. And can I guarantee any sort of results that they're going to get? Because they would often ask, so what do I get from working with you? And I felt a hesitancy, and I think from a compassionate perspective, I didn't want to misrepresent myself, and I didn't want to oversell results in some way. And I didn't want to sound like I was sort of inflated, or in my mother's words, too big for your britches. So all of those things were sort of floating through my head, this kind of mush of stew of I'm imposter or I'm not enough or whatever it might be. So I'm curious what kind of chat responses might be coming in. Are you able to see anything yet?
Yes, we have responses. Uh, mhm. No, actually, I see all the questions from the chat. Chat is not disabled. I can see your questions in Q&A, so feel free to.
I'm not
Uh,
seeing any of them.
okay, I'll be happy to read them.
Please
So,
share it together. I don't see it.
Patricia is sharing that one thing's holding her back is energy level,
Energy,
mindset, needed
okay.
to sell myself.
Energy, mindset, selling myself. Yeah. And so, from a coaching perspective, and this is what I teach, believe in, love, promote coaching. And so my conversation will very much be laced with the ICF coaching competencies. And the coaches on the call will be very aware that ICF 7 is about evokes awareness. And one of the first things that you have in the PCC markers is to understand where you are currently. And so those who have been able to write down, whether in the chat or on a slip of paper or on your notepad or wherever, what is the current state that you have? And so if it's the energy that I don't have, it's the mindset that might be tripping me up, it's the having to quote sell myself as a coach. That's a current state. So I would like to ask now, with that current state, and if you haven't put something down, please go ahead and do that. Those things that are causing you the hesitancy to put yourself out there.
Mhm.
And then think about the emotion that's associated with whatever it is that you wrote down. So what is the emotion that's associated with what you wrote down? And I would love it if a few people could put that into the chat as well.
Yeah, I have few responses. So speaking of money, lacking worthiness, and is also the concept of self-promotion makes me feel incredibly uncomfortable. The
Uncomfortable.
emotion is fear.
Did I hear fear? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Fear? uncomfortable, right? And for me, I would add, I felt ashamed because there was also this piece of me that I'm very competitive. Um, all throughout high school, college, whatever it seems that I did, I ended up in some kind of a leadership role. And I ended up often being the best at the things that I did. And so I've got that competitive gene. And yet I was ashamed of it too, because I didn't want to be competitive in selling. I didn't want to come across as I'm going to manipulate you, potential client, to give me money for the things that I'm going to provide for you. That I had that funky narrative imposter syndrome thing going on there. So I had shame associated with it as well. I had fear that I would be rejected. So some of those things, the uncomfort, etc. I think the interesting thing, I love Fritz Perls's quote that says, "Fear is excitement without the breath." And so
Hmm.
there's excitement without the breath.
Amazing.
Yeah, and if we can think about, okay, this is our current state, it is just a state. If we can strip away all of the stories that go with that, like what am I really afraid of? And is it rejection? Is it that I'm not going to have enough money? Is it that I'm going to be too tired because somebody said the energy level? All of those things are data points. They are possible pieces of this whole puzzle. So I would just invite everyone to hold whatever you've got with this current state of your details and your emotions in just sort of a curious little handheld basket that is light, that has interesting things in it, none of which are going to be cemented as gospel truth, just these interesting ideas. So from there, now if we can move towards evoking awareness of what would need to change to be able to lighten that emotional weight, to be able to lessen that fear of the energy or selling myself or that discomfort, what would need to change within you? And here's where I want to come back, Ihor, to that idea of integrating a piece of ourself that perhaps we discarded, don't want to look at, whatever it might be. So, what is the piece of you that could be valuable in this story? So, for me, I'll go back to my competitiveness. Um, if I can take my competitiveness, this thing that's sort of in the shadows for me, and I've rejected, and I don't want to come across as competitive, I can take that out and look at it in the healthiest way possible and integrate it into this challenge that I find myself in. How can I be competitive about learning how to feel uncomfortable and getting more comfortable with what I was previously uncomfortable with? How can
Hmm.
I be competitive with the number of people that I want to reach out to in a particular week? How can I be competitive? So I'm turning that competition thing from a negative, you're too big for your britches, don't be a show off, whatever story I might have picked up from my childhood, and made it a healthy concept so that I can integrate it into the things that I already have comfort with. That's
Hmm.
that's an interesting place. So I wonder if people might even add to the chat, what is it that you could integrate into your current, all of your other strengths, the things that have made you an amazing human being and coach? And what would you be willing to experiment with? So it could be some attribute, it could be a strength, it could be a mindset, something like that. What would
Hmm.
you be willing to experiment with? And
Hmm.
what are people putting into the chat as
Uh, yeah, so we have people sharing my love of people, my strong belief and passion. They were criticized when I was a child and a young person. I could experiment with these in this situation.
beautiful? So the love of people, passion.
And beliefs.
And what was that last word?
Beliefs.
Beliefs. Right. And so coming back to, what is the resistance? Holding it lightly, thinking about what piece of you could integrate. And sometimes it'll be an opposite. Sometimes it'll be something that is a strength. Like I heard that my passion for people. that's obviously a strength that you can tap into that as well. So
Hmm.
integrating something in with a new angle, a strength from a new angle, or something that felt like you were resisting the selling part or the competitive part in my case, to
Hmm.
bring it together. This is what we ask our coaches, or excuse me, this is what we ask our clients to do when we're coaching, is to look at things from new perspectives. And in a sense, whatever it is that's we're hesitating around putting ourselves out there as a coach is very much like the things that we're asking clients to consider, that clients come to us for. So it's a beautiful opportunity to walk the talk and to grow and to feel that discomfort. I love that it's uncomfortable. It is. Usually something new and different is uncomfortable, and to feel it as opposed to add all sorts of imposter stories around it.
Hmm. Susan, could you please share like what can coaches be aware of from neuroscience perspective about this?
Yeah. So, neuroscience is such a huge topic. And one of the things that I love about the academies is that we have some very straightforward, relevant, applicable things that make it practical. One of them is our red zone, blue zone concept. So simply, the red zone is when you're in the fight flight state, you lose a lot of your cognitive, creative ability and your ability to relate to others. That's red zone. So blue zone would be when we're not in the fight flight, we're in that different sort of physiological state where we are going to have greater flow to the prefrontal cortex. We can think better. We can create better. We can be more creative. We can be more collaborative and have more trusted relationships. So red zone, blue zone. If you think about underneath that, there are two things to be remembering. There is your neurocircuitry. So that's all the wiring that you had. So my wiring was small town farm girl. Who am I to put myself out there to be talking to big corporations about coach training? So the neurocircuitry is one piece of it. Then the neurochemistry is the other piece of it. So if we get neurocircuitry that starts saying, I am willing to experiment with a different piece of me and be uncomfortable a little bit, that's going to grow new neural circuitry. But if our neurochemistry is in fight flight or we get scared, it's going to be harder to grow that neurocircuitry. So the more that you can put yourself in that place of compassion about, I'm learning new things about how to put myself out there, the more that you can experience love and compassion for other people that you're talking to and their needs and their hurts and making it about them, that compassion is going to really drive up your oxytocin. It's going to then support your brain. It's going to support trust. So I think from a brain-based perspective, remembering the red zone, blue zone, the circuitry and the chemistry, and how can I kind of put an experiment with pushing those different buttons so that they work for me and not against me.
Hmm. Okay. Uh, Interesting. Let me see if we have more questions in the chat. Uh, One of the questions is my strength of WOO and my sense of connectedness to others.
I heard the connectedness. What was the part?
Yes,
What was the one?
to others.
Connectedness to others. And that's a huge piece of it, because if you start thinking about the things that hold you back, you're often, this is my experience anyway, we're often really making the story about us. What are people thinking about me? How are they maybe judging me? How am I judging myself? We become very self-focused in that. And I'm not trying to criticize anybody that's in that place, because I certainly know what that's like. The person that listed the connectedness to others, that's huge, because now you're taking it out of yourself. When you start thinking about yourself, you're going to invite more of a fight flight perspective if you're judging yourself. If it's connectedness to others, now you've got that ability to co-regulate together with another person. You've got that ability to get that oxytocin going. You've got that ability to create an emotional contagion with that other person, that connectedness with that other person. And that neurochemistry is going to lift you up and give you, the person who mentioned the energy, that's going to give you additional energy. Like, it's really hard to do something that you don't want to do and doesn't feel good. So if you can get some of that oxytocin going, it's going to give you a bump in your energy levels.
Okay. Let's talk about practices for feeling more confident.
Yeah, well, so you worked with your mom. That I love that story about how that was the impetus to grow Workee. And I know you've worked with a number of very influential coaches in the industry, people that I respect deeply. Um, could you start with like what have you seen? Because you've helped a lot of coaches with the confidence.
Mhm. Yeah, sure. I'm happy that you asked this question. So about confidence, there is a very interesting concept because usually people think that confidence is something that is given to us by someone.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, we realize that confidence is something we build through our experience, through our reflection, and through our community.
Mm,
One of the interesting tactics how you can build the confidence is about taking action before you will feel ready for the action.
mhm.
Yeah, if you're gonna like just make step back, it sounds really weird. But confidence often comes after the action, not before.
Ah, I
S-
love that.
Start small, show up, keep the idea, record the video, and you'll never feel fully ready. But each step gives you evidence that you can handle more.
Mm,
Another key thing that I always keep noticing is that you have to surround yourself with the people who can reflect your potential back to you, not just your past.
mhm.
One of my the most influential connections was with Gary, who is founder of Choice Magazine.
Yes.
That's a very interesting story how we met. I'm always curious about additional opportunities for the company, how we can get to the right people, because as you can imagine, for any company, the most thing is usually not even product, but distribution. Without having the right distribution, it's really hard to get to the point when you can surround your product by the right people who will help you to build the right product. Because without people and without their feedback, it's impossible to achieve something big.
Yes.
So this is how I was essentially reaching out to many people, and as a founder, and you definitely can reflect this in yourself as well. We usually always very curious, and we are not afraid about doing some things that have small chance to succeed, like almost zero chance to succeed. This is how I reach out to Gary out of the blue.
Yeah.
I don't remember even where, maybe email, and I was asking, "Hey, my name is Ihor. We do this and this. I found that you run this space." And again, for me, after some point, it became just now a game number of games, because I know that like I can reach out to 100 people, and I should be just confident, and then maybe one people will reply.
Mhm.
Usually, it's also like about building confidence, because at the end of the day, you understand that this is just number of game. Uh, the more people you're gonna reach out, the higher people amount will reply, but always there is percentage. So you should
Mhm.
not measure people by people. Like it sounds weird, but when we're talking about statistics, there is always also always some probability of response. That's why I just sent message to Gary out of the blue,
Mhm.
and asking him about his opinion, what we can build together. And he replied, "Oh, hi, nice to meet you. Actually, I'm gonna be in Bay Area sometime in few months. Let's meet." And yeah, this is how we met for coffee on Saturday morning in Half Moon Bay here in Bay Area. And he shared with me the story how he started. You probably know the story because you know Gary on your end as well. But Gary is running the magazine for over 18 years now.
Mhm.
And he told me about a time when he was starting out and didn't yet see himself as a publisher. But he kept showing up, he kept asking questions, learning from others in the coaching world, and surrounding himself with voices who believed in his mission.
Mm-hmm.
Over time, the community reflected confidence back to him until he believed in it himself. Today, Choice Magazine isn't just a publication, it's a platform that empowers coaches all over the world. And
Yeah,
from what I remember, Choice Magazine is the biggest choice coaching magazine in the world today.
it is. Yeah. Yeah.
Talking about confidence, what would you add, especially from brain-friendly perspectives?
Yeah. Um, your comment about the confidence often comes after the idea. One of my favorite neuroscience podcasts is Andrew Huberman. I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with him. And one of the things that I learned really stayed with me from his training or his teaching was this part of the brain called the anterior mid-cingulate cortex. You don't have to memorize that. Who cares what it is? It's there. And they studied it and they found that it grows in people that are successful with things like dieting and discipline and different kinds of new habits that are hard to do, that were hard for them to do. And they found that this part of the brain grows when you do the stuff that you don't want to do. So his example is like, if you love doing a whole bunch of reps until failure, that's not going to grow your mid cingulate cortex. If you do stuff that you don't love doing, let's say whatever the reach out is, whatever you're resisting around putting yourself out there as a coach, if you do that piece of it, that part of your brain is going to grow. And the reason that that is important to know is that that part of the brain is associated with health. It's associated with super agers, people that have longevity, and they think that it also has something to do with our will to live. So if I know of any population who have a will to live, it's coaches. They are about growing and living fully and deeply and with great intention. And so I think that's really fascinating to think about. If I do this, this is going to make me healthier and it's going to grow this part of my brain that's going to give me greater health and greater longevity and greater aliveness more than anything. And I enjoy working with you because you are alive. You're fun to work with. Coaches, if you're looking to work with, whether it's clients, corporations, individuals, whomever, they are going to work with people. They are going to want to work with people that are alive.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's just this beautiful win-win if we can leverage that knowledge about our brain. So that's why when I said earlier, I do the things that scare me. I don't want to be like, go out there and just do stuff that scares you. I don't mean that. I mean, do it in the most meaningful, intentional, compassionate, healthful, alive way. And when you wrap putting yourself out there in that makes you more human, it makes you more alive, it makes you more attractive, it makes you more focused on others and connected with others. So that's my neuroscience piece of doing it.
Mm-hmm. This is amazing. Thank you so much for sharing this. And let's see what else we can do for our audience. Let's talk about like what things can push you and can improve your practice in 2025. Is
Mhm.
there something that we should be aware of?
Well, I think back to this, my message about integrating things. Um, this is not a blanket statement about all coaches, but many coaches really have the relational side down, the humane side down, and they may feel a little less equipped to do all of the back office work side of things. And unless we integrate that piece of us, that piece of the whole picture, then we're always going to have some degree, I think, of struggle or frustration. So I think paying attention to what AI is doing in the world right now is a big piece of it. And that's probably a good toss to you to talk
Mm-hmm.
about for those things as well.
I remember I saw one great statement about AI, and the statement is that AI won't take your job, especially coach's job, but the person who's using AI will.
Mm.
So there are many things and many noise happening out there today. And I would like to highlight few strategies how you can actually use AI for good and how it can really boost your skills. One of the strategies is that as of today, it's really important to make sure that people can find you. Because usually, I keep seeing many coaches are struggling with this, how they can put themselves in front of some audience, in front of some community, in front of the opportunity. And just to make sure that you can do max in this area is just to maximize your online presence. It's about building your social media. It's about building your website and content that can lead to the problems that you can solve, to the goals that you can achieve.
Mm.
And utilize AI to make sure you can have this as your personal coaching assistants who can help you to build this presence. Today, as you probably know, and from what I see, those our coaches who have strong social medias, they never have problem with their customers or with their funnel generation, because social media is generating customers. Social media helping you to put yourself in front of the audience. So first of all, is build your online channel. Pick some channels that you use. Is it LinkedIn? Is it Instagram? Is it maybe Facebook or whatever you use? And make sure that you can build the consistent social media strategy. Usually, people trying to do a few posts see zero results and they just give up. First of all, it's hard to do the first post, but again, one of the main rules that I learned as an entrepreneur is that we should always apply numbers to anything that we do. Whether we are reaching out to people, whether we are posting something, we should apply numbers and we should have numbers as part of your strategy. It means that you should not expect success from one post. You should not expect success from 10 posts, but you will see success from 100 posts that you need to make consistently every week, few weeks away, a few weeks a few times a week, during some period of time, just to make your practice makes better. Just practice on this. So first of all, pick social media that you want to work with. Make sure that everyone from your network knows about this social media. Build a plan, and please move according to the plan consistently until something will happen. And it will definitely happen the more effort you're going to put there.
Can I add something back to the brain friendly piece of this? So
Yes.
I mean, everybody sort of knows that. Well, not everybody. Quick story. I heard a job seeker once say, "I tried networking last week. It didn't work. Like, tried it one time last week. It didn't work."
Mhm.
Not
Yeah.
the principle. However, from a brain perspective, one of the things that the brain has to have to create that new neural plasticity so that this becomes familiar and it becomes comfortable is repetition. We need like novelty, emotional resonance, association, and repetition. And that repetition is the thing that's going to help the brain make this easeful. So you won't need as much energy to do it in the future once it becomes more automatic. So social
Yeah,
media,
this is a great insight.
yeah.
So this is number one recommendation. Again, it could sound as really easy one, build social media like, oh my God, what's new? Because everyone knows this for the last 5 years at least. But again, uh, building and utilizing AI there is many tools like Canva that you guys should discover for templates. There are many tools that you should discover for content creation, for building plans and executing plans. Other tools can, like HeyGen, they can help you to create your avatars. You can use avatars to create more engaging content. So from my end, I would suggest these two tools. Which one is Canva AI, and second one is HeyGen, for creating your avatars and creating your engaging content that you should keep consistent to publishing this. Another tool that I will recommend for you to build your content is try to create projects within ChatGPT. Again, very simple recommendation, but very, very basic one. It's been already proved a few times that more dedicated prompts you have, the more better responses you'll get from AI. But the question is how to write the correct prompt, because you should have enough skills to do this. And the answer is very simple. Ask Chat AI, describe is the problem you have, and ask it to prepare the prompt that you should ask the chat itself. Very simple play of games, but again, ask ChatGPT to prepare the correct task that you can utilize for it to prepare the best answer for you. And so, in short, in 2025, the most effective strategies combine AI for content and automation. Platforms like Workee that can streamline operations, and also authentic engagement to build real trust. It's about showing up consistently, but also working smarter and not harder.
What?
Yep, we have another beautiful slide to show, and I'm gonna share my screen right now to show this. And the slide is what we can do from academy side to help achieve the goal.
And so I know that there are people in the call today who've been with the academies in the past and the present and on into the future. And for those who perhaps haven't discovered us yet, and if you are on your coaching journey, this is just one of the tools that we have that one of our brilliant staff team members developed, Matthew Gardner, who's in South Africa, based there and takes calls day and night because of his time schedule. He's really kind of laid out, if you have questions about what do I want to do with my coaching, or how do I start that process? Because honestly, sometimes the ICF pathway can be a little bit confusing. It can be, there's just lots of options. So this gives people an idea of if I'd like to start or continue my coaching journey, that we have some options for that.
Okay, sounds good. And to support the journey, there is also 50% off for all Workee plans with the code Academies. So very simple code, just Academies. You can apply this to get 50% off on all Workee plans for yearly and monthly plans as well, just to help your journey to kick off. And Academies is one of our official partners, and we're super happy to have this engaging conversations and many things happening out there. So super happy to be here with you, and hope to more things coming in the future.
So can I just make a comment about that? We have a lot of people that want to collaborate or partner with us in one form or another. And I just wanted to shout out to one of our team members, Lee Gauthier, who's also a faculty member and our director of growth. And she is so strategic about vetting what's going to be a great fit for our community and the people that we want to serve and support and see grow. And so I just want to say to everybody on the call, there was a lot of vetting process that went through and into to know that this would be a nice resource and a helpful, not just nice, but a helpful resource for the coaches that want to be able to thrive in their coaching business. So thank you.
So, thank you, Susan, and thank you for your amazing team. for constant support and for many due diligence process we've been through together.
It was
Cool. Now,
months in the making. Yeah.
yes, just 7 months, not that much, right? Yeah, and going back to the audience, to our audience that been with us, listening carefully and asking questions. Now it's time for you to speak. We have a Q&A section, so please feel free to write your answers, your questions in Q&A. This is a great chance for you to ask us anything, and we are full in your attention. I just see one of the questions that we recently received. Does Workee and Academies have a community that coaches can join to keep this dialogue going? So about the communities, there is a community from Workee side we in Facebook. But Susan, that's a great question. Do you have community or maybe chat with academies?
We absolutely do. And it's just a team shout out day here. So Jessica Burdett, our director of curriculum and also alumni community, has created a LinkedIn alumni group for academies graduates. And that's a great place to be able to, raise your hand for questions about things. And it could be questions about how you're using Workee, what's worked for you with it. So we really invite you to, if you aren't already part of the Academy's LinkedIn group, that's a closed group, then please reach out to us so that we can make sure that that happens.
And we have a follow-up question. Do they need to have coaching certification to join the group?
You need to be a graduate of one of our programs. So you don't have to have gotten already to the ICF, ACC, or PCC, or MCC.
Okay. Thank you, Susan. I have another question about Workee from Anna about the discount. So yes, discount is applied for all plans. So whenever it is starter or plus or professional plan, discount is applied for all plans. So feel free to welcome to join. And I have a follow-up question. How important is coaching certification? It's a general question.
So there's the certification that can come through, let's say with the academies, our various programs end up with some sort of a certified career management coach, certified executive and leadership development coach, certified strengths coach. So those things usually add some level of expertise and commitment. They communicate and convey that you are walking your talk and upskilling and learning the latest in whatever discipline of coaching that you're working in. I wonder if the question is more specifically about the ICF certification. Is there any way to clarify that question? But I'll speak to it in case that's it. How important?
It's, mhm.
Go ahead.
Yeah, please go. It's about general certification.
Okay, so I think any of those certifications convey a commitment to, I haven't just hung a shingle and decided that I'm a coach and have no clue what the ICF competencies are about or that sort of thing. So there's that. Then there is International Coaching Federation, and I think it delights me. They are celebrating their 25th year of as a professional association. We are as well for the academies. A little bit later in the year, we're going to be rolling out our 25th celebratory events and all. And I think that at this point in the nascent evolution of the discipline of coaching, that a certification now is more important than it ever has been. There are 50,000 credentialed ICF coaches around the globe. And so really there's just a rising tide of accepting, believing in, and realizing the benefit that comes from this way of communicating and setting goals and growing and changing. So I would say, get your ICF certification. More and more we hear business schools, we hear organizations, we hear corporate HROD leadership kinds of roles that are open are asking for must be ICF certified. So it's happening, it's continuing to grow, it's important. And I'm not just saying that because I happen to be at the helm of a coach training organization. those are facts and numbers.
Mhm. Thank you, Susan. I have another question from chat about partners list. On Workee, whenever you go to Workee website, workee.net, there is partnership section. You can go to partnership section and you can see our active partners right now. So this is where you can discover our partners. And yeah, that's a great question, Susan, to you. Do you have
Laura,
section?
Can
Yeah.
I just say really quickly, I think you've also got maybe some private stuff displayed on your screen there. So
Oh,
just thought I'd let you
yes.
know if
Thank
you
you for sharing.
were,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, you had a question
Yes.
for me?
Yeah, and the question for you, do you have a list of official partners on the Academy's website?
Um, I am probably not the best person to be able to answer that.
Mhm.
Lee, if you have any insights that you want to add to the chat, or Jessica, I can see both of our teammates are here. Um,
Mhm.
so, and we have, yeah, I am not positive about that. If it's listed
Okay,
more
cool.
specifically.
We'll double check and send you as a follow-up. Thank you. Yeah, Liz here, she's asking to check the pricing page. So I guess it's gonna be under certification. So it's on a pricing page. We have list of we have list of partners
Thank you.
as we're suggesting. Okay, cool. Thank you so much for sharing this. And last but not least, we had a question about Workee features. So Workee features, I can go about. I can. Yes, sorry, it's not. Yeah, current pricing, and here we have a list of our partners on pricing page on Academies. Thank you for suggesting this. And about Workee features that I got a question in the chat. So with Workee, what's the main thing with Workee is that we helping you to run your business starting from your website, selling products which are courses, appointments. You can sell books, you can sell offline and online products, and you can also accept payments, manage your customers, and manage your tax reports in one simple place. So this is about Workee. Uh, cool. I guess we are doing pretty well with this, and I guess it was our last question. I guess we'll be wrapping up shortly. So yeah, if there are any other questions, guys, or if there is anything you would like to ask us, please feel free to reach out to Susan, to me, if there is anything else we can do to support your journey.
I
It was,
have a
yeah.
question. And that would be if you want to put it into the chat, or write it down. As a coach, I have to ask the question. So what has changed about sort of your self-identity around putting yourself out there as a coach? So what has changed, deepened, grown around putting yourself out there as a coach?
Okay. Guys, feel free to reply if you have any insights. I'll be happy to learn as well. Cool. We'll be wrapping up uh, as I mentioned. All our conversations, the whole conversation is recorded, and we will share recording with you guys, which will be published in YouTube over the email. So please stay tuned for the email with the recording coming shortly, today, tomorrow, max. And Susan, one of the replies to your question is idea of putting the things into the basket.
Ah, great.
Cool. So, guys, it was a great conversation today. Susan, my absolute pleasure having your amazing experience and deep insights about the challenge that coaches face, I guess, on daily basis. Thank you for being the light of our recording today, and for your beautiful smile. So I hope to see you soon. And thank you so much for being our guest.
Thank you. It's been an honor, and thank you for all that you have, the resources to be able to help coaches be all that they were put on this planet to be.
Thank you.
Okay.